There was a talk given 6 months ago, right? No? How many months ago?
In June.
Oh, 2 months ago.
June.
Huh?
3 months ago.
3 months ago, we went to Vernon. It was a beautiful trip because we're climbing mountaintops, not with legs, with the car. We're going up to the mountaintops, and wow, it's so scenic. Everywhere we're looking at clouds and mountaintops and temperature drops. All of a sudden it can go up 20, 30 degrees, It's very exciting. So we passing Kamloops, is it Kamloops? No, Kelowna. Passing Kelowna, I've never seen a city so organized. The roads are so wide, with so many lakes surrounding it. Passing Kelowna, and we go to Vernon. And I was at Vernon giving that talk to a group of local Canadians. And that was actually my first trip to, my first talk to a group that is completely Canadian. I couldn't find a Chinese in there except for our own crew. Yeah, it's all Canadian. And there's some, all walks of life. Later, I learned that there was a psychiatrist in there, and there maybe were some doctors, some teachers, and students, and all walks of life. And I gave a 2-hour talk, and then I started to do my Q&A, and they stay until everything is all done. I mean, 3 hours, sitting in there for 3 hours, and it's a good memory. It's a good memory, and they seem to like what I was talking about. So that's it. So that's a record of the Vernon trip, and we plan to do some more of this kind of because that could help a lot of teenagers. Actually, the case that triggered my going over there, I was invited by a family whose daughter committed suicide because of depression. She committed suicide because of depression. So, and then the dad saw me on YouTube, and he found that I gave lectures on how to overcome depressions and emotional challenges, and he found it to be, quite suitable to the situation. So I was invited to go over there. I went to schools too. I went to 2 schools. And I really liked the first school that I went to. And they were sitting in there, listening very attentively. They were sitting on the floor, and I was talking, and they were actually listening. And then I gave the talk in the morning, and in the evening, of course, there was a kid who was asking questions, and then in the evening, we saw him attending to the lecture, dressing up, very serious about it, and combing hairs, and everything is. What a contrast. When he was sitting on the floor listening to me, it was like a sloppy basketball player, lying around and reluctant to listen and all that. And all of a sudden, after the talk in the evening, he showed up with $20 in his hands. He wanted to buy a ticket, get in there. So we were all impressed by him. So it's exciting. Anyway, I have one question in here that I would like to answer. Dear Venerable, you are right that the concept of returning is not easy to understand. Thank you for using Madhyamaka Sastra to explain this concept to us. Even would believe what Buddha taught me. Would you spend some lessons to go through more details in Madhyamaka Sastra, because it helps me to think and think more logically. Yeah. Well, it's good to go through Madhyamaka Sastra, but it is so the details of it are so analytical and it contains so much jargon that it may challenge the patience of a lot of people because it contains a lot of philosophical arguments, a lot of theses about logic, like P and not P, and P and not P, and both P and not P is true, and all that. It's very complicated. It's really complicated, and some people may go to sleep, after listening to that. It's challenging when you listen to it only just about half an hour, and it seems to be quite logical. It runs the gamut of all alternatives in thinking about something, but I think it's good to just touch on it. Some people say, do I have to understand Madhyamaka Karika in order to understand Buddhism? Because most of it is logical argument given by very abstruse and profound philosophers in ancient India. Nagarjuna and Vasubandhu and Asanga. All these are famous philosophers of logic. People in India, they study logic long before the Western world brought logic. And they didn't call it logic, they called it what? Hetu Vidya. Hetu Vidya. Hetu is conditionality, understanding the causes of things. Vidya is to understand it. Hetu Vidya. That's the reason why we call ignorance avidya. Avidya means not understanding it. So they want to bring up logical understanding to understand the Buddhist teaching. And they involve a lot of deep thinking that some people find it very difficult to understand. So maybe we'll think about occasionally bringing it up sometimes, but we don't want to deal with it. There are some propositions in there I don't even understand to the present day. I try to. There are certain things in there that I still have to struggle to understand it. Because I think in those days, thousands of years ago, people were very intelligent in logic and in philosophy because their life is not as complicated as now. Given the advance of technology and all that, life is getting very complicated. We always determine the complexity of life by the amount of keys that we carry. Do they carry any keys in the ancient times? Now you have a bunch of keys. You see Patrick, that is responsible for keys in the temple. He carried 200 keys. How many doors? You count the number of doors that we have. There's one key to each door. And when you finish lunch, you count the number of doors in the temple. And you will find that there's more than 200. So there are 200 keys in the key box. We haven't counted the vehicle's key. We have the mini excavator key, we have the forklift key. And he will go crazy if he lost a key. Or if someone brought a key to start the car and forgot to put the keys back, who took the key? Or a lot of management to do. You think building up a temple is easy? There's a lot of management to do. Building up a temple is not just build up a temple and that's it and let it prosper. No. You have to maintain it. Maintenance is very difficult to do. So when people come in and they start to say, hey, how come this is dirty? How come this is not fixed yet? How come that tree is withered? How come the rhododendron hasn't been put in the right kind of soil? How come this? How come that? I said, why don't you come in to help? We're running short of staff. We already have 25 staff in here, including volunteers. We can't finish all the job. Look at our roofs that we have to prepare. We have to repair. And how come people get fell in a slow season because you haven't put enough salt on it. In the morning, we'll put in 1 ton of salt, but they disappear and it slows down. So how can we keep up with it? We're putting up salt on icy road. So it's caveat emptor. Let buyers beware. Caveat emptor. There's such a thing. But we can't catch up with it. We tried our best, we still haven't got enough time to match up to what we want to do. Plus, We got to have an expenditure to meet. Every repair needs money to upkeep. It's not just talking about it. You have to run enough budget, run enough money to get everything going. So people come in here, they just enjoy. This is good, this is bad, this is good. Lunch, free lunches and all that. There's a lot of people who are so generous to donate. They donate for the sake of the Buddhist teaching to be promoted to the majority so that we all learn to be a good person. We all learn to uphold our values of life. We want all to understand the problems of life and we are in a better position to solve these problems. We are in the business, quote unquote, we call it business. We are in the business of improving the values of life. That's what religion is doing. That's what philanthropy, charity is doing. All right, I'm supposed to answer this question, and it's not to talk about our problems, or your problems, or the society's problems. Sometimes I think it's not our problem, it's the society's problem. Maybe we'll do it sometime later. Any more questions? Yes?
Do you have the dog from YouTube?
We have a dog?
The dog in Vietnam.
The bird and talk.
The bird and talk?
YouTube, yeah.
Not yet. It has to go. We have a team of people. That kind of talk, we still have the video editing it, making sure that all these things all got filtered out, and then we have to put in the right music. We have to put in the right intro, and the music we can just download from anybody's music. Every episode is our own created music. You may not realize it. Every piece of music was written by us. You cannot just steal somebody else's music and put in our... You know how many episodes we have in our YouTube? More than 300. I gave out over the 20 years many talks, maybe more than 200-300 talks. And every one of these has music, the intro music. And also these, what do you call that? The video introduction to it. And we have to adjust the lighting. And we have to have a shooting crew, a camera, a mic. We have to use, if it's an audio production, we have to use, say, a TW-87 mic, not just an ordinary dynamic mic. We have to use what do you call that? A repercussion. There's so many mics. 2 days ago, I went into a Tom Lee shop, and we were shopping for a mic. Wow, there's 60 categories of mic, and it ranges from 30,000 to 300. There's so many. In audio tape, in audio production, you really have to pay a lot of attention to your mic, to your compressor, to your preamp, to lots of work to do. You think you just see YouTube and that's it? I want to see this. I want to listen to this. You know how much work is done? We spend many hours doing it. Many hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours have been put onto these episodes to be shown on YouTube, and audios and everything. It's a very high budget. A lot of money is involved. A lot of people donate. A lot of activities are required to generate the donation. Lots and lots of things. Building a temple, when I first built the temple, I thought, after I build this temple, I can retire. And then after I built this temple, I discovered that I'm hooked up with everything. I can't get rid of it. I'm on the hook, so to speak. This is I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it's a lot of work to do. And if you want to improve it, which we always want to do, you always have to upgrade it. I'm learning all this video editing and audio editing and all this equipment that I have to do and all that. I'm still in the process. You think I only talk? I still have to research as like a sound engineer into how to do a better job with it. How to make the sounds real. How to put up acoustics in the studio in order to avoid the echo, the reflections. But I find it to be amusing to learn all these. The only thing is I didn't have enough time to learn all these. I only can touch a little bit of everything. I'm a jack of all trades without specializing in anything. I'm a garden designer, but I can't really probe into the real design. You know, the garden that we did, we only did it in a month. We did it all by ourselves. If we have to get a subcontractor to do it, it's probably about $100,000, but we did it with just $10,000, maybe less. We designed it, we bought the rocks. You know how I chose every boulder? I actually went up to the quarry. I went up to the mountain, I picked all this, every rock, huge piece boulder, you think we just say, hey, Jack, send me 20 tons of boulders, and then I'll meet you in my parking lot. No. I actually went up to the Bowen Island quarry, where we have explosives all over the place on the distance. I was climbing up to these boulders, and I spray a cross on each boulder. And then later, they pick out those crossed out rocks and send it to me. And if I buy a piece of rock in here, it's 25 cents per pound. If I buy that, it's 25 cents per ton. So which one you prefer? So it's worth going up to the quarry to climb with those boulders to get a cheaper price. Plus, you can pick up your own style too. I like certain style, but I find it to be amusing. I don't find it to be a tough work to do. It's always interesting to climb the mountain. I shouldn't be talking about that. So, any more questions? No? So we finished for the day.